Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead, welcome to my channel. Not at my homestead. In fact, I'm at some person's property. He's a tow truck,
Mechanic
he's a mechanic and a
and
tow
a tow
truck
truck driver.
driver.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess I'll just give it some time for some people to get here. You know, if you're watching this now, like after the fact, I thought that, pretty much everything had settled down in my life because,
Me too.
huh?
Me too. I thought things had settled.
Yeah, because things seem to be going okay. It
For like a
just
week.
for like a week, maybe even a little bit more, I think.
Possibly, yeah.
And so, you know, we were gonna go out today, run some errands. Everything was looking good. I was happy about the video that I put out earlier today about Tisha B'Av, and I'd love to hear what you thought about it. But we hadn't been out for a while to go on a drive, go do errands, and so we decided to make a run to Wichita because there was some stuff that we needed, and the steering wheel was kind of shaking like this, like back and forth, and I had experienced that before with our other car when we needed an alignment, where like I think it was the two front wheels, they were just like they were different as far as their wear went. And so the way that translated to the steering wheel was, mm, and so like the same type of thing was going on here. And we're like, you know what? We're waiting to get paid, but we have a little bit of money. We can either go get these errands done or go take care of the car. So let's go take care of the car because it probably needs an alignment. That was my best guess. So we went to Jiffy Lube, which I'm not a fan of doing. Never have been. You know, my dad taught me that. What?
It was the only place that could get us in without making an appointment, and the other places weren't available until like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Yeah, so I guess we kind of had to. I was like bracing for it, the upsells and stuff, and they're like, well, no, it's not necessarily like you need that too, but your your brakes are basically they're engaged, you're
Locked up.
they're locked up. Yeah, the brakes are like locked up, which I believed him. I believed him because we had our brakes changed this morning from someone in town, someone that we trust. He's a mechanic. He's never done us wrong. Get out of here, fly. And after they changed out the brakes, like the brakes did feel different. Like you have to push like extra hard or more to get them to brake. And so what had been happening was that the brakes were locked up pretty much, worn down the brake pad. And the guy was saying that there was like a lot more that needed to be done. Like the rotor needs to be changed, and there was something with the brake line and the master
Cylinder.
or the head cylinder or whatever. Um, and then what are the
I
other?
don't remember, but it was a whole list of things.
But what's the thing that I already forgot? What's the thing that they're changing out right now?
Oh, I don't remember the name.
Well, whatever. Another part of the brake, and it was just like a very fluctuating situation. The guy coming in and out of the door, each time coming out with worse and worse news. Just chaotic, and us just being like, we don't have this money right now. And so we were upset at the guy in town, and so we called and they talked to each other on the phone and whatever. And as that was going on, the guy at Jiffy Lube was adding up the totals and stuff like that, and came up to a total of like $1,100 and a little bit more. And we were just like, what the heck? Because that was even more than what originally he was talking about. Well, we talked to the mechanic in our town, and he was like, no, they're. What did he say again?
About what?
The, the mechanic about Jiffy Lube, and they
Oh,
were.
he said if he wasn't worried about us getting home, then he would have told him what he thought about him. And he was saying that Hulu was swindling us, and that it shouldn't cost us much money. And if we went to, oh, hi Betty, and well, hi, if we went back to go see him, he would charge us much less and give us a good price.
So we didn't have Jiffy Lube do anything. The guy's like, hey, go to my friend. He's in Wichita. He'll at least get you. Oh yeah, the calipers.
Calipers, yeah.
He'll change out the calipers and do the basic stuff so you can drive the rest of the way home. So that's what we're waiting for right now. And I want to talk about sales. You know, I used to be in sales because I worked at Discover Card when I lived both in Salt Lake and in Phoenix. I worked at Discover Card. I had to try and push their stupid payment protection programs and identity theft protection and wallet protection and all these like things that whatever, I don't know, maybe you find value in them or whatever. I don't. And I didn't want to sell them, but I had to because it's part of my job. So I understand that like when you're employed and your job is sales, that's what you're supposed to do. And if you're a member of the church and if you're really living the gospel, maybe sometimes that can be a little bit hard because there's an ethical line. You know, the line is, are you more concerned about you and getting the sale and then therefore getting the commission, or do you really have the customer's best interest at heart? And I think a lot of times, there's salespeople that they have the customer's interest at heart. And so they find that fine line of still doing their job, you know, doing sales, but ultimately putting you first in your needs. Whereas a bad salesperson would try and ram it down your throat no matter what. Right? And this guy that we were working with, the store manager, he spoke professional, like his tone was professional, but it was pretty apparent as I watched him engage with other customers, and then when he talked to us, when he talked to our mechanic on the phone, uh, you know, there's like a little bit of like cognitive dissonance, which means that you're seeing one thing. So like, oh, he's professional. He's good, and he actually does care about me because he's concerned about my safety. But then on the other hand, you see other things, red flags. And so you don't know what to think. It's called cognitive dissonance when you're like confused, when you're confronted with like two different sets of facts that seem to conflict and you don't know what to make out of it. And so you could tell that he really got butthurt at the end when our mechanic was like, you know what, don't go with them. I'll take care of this. I'll do it for much cheaper. I'll give you a discount and I can get those parts for cheaper. What he's quoting you, the $1,100+ is like ridiculous.
Our mechanic was even gonna tow us back down to where we live and get us a ride down there. That's how great our mechanic is.
So, so the store manager, when we chose that plan to just take the car and go, he was really upset. You could tell he didn't lose his composure, but through some of the things that he said in his actions, you could tell that he was frustrated, and understandably so. But he let it like show through a couple times. We asked him some questions, and there was like a little bit of curtness to his answers. And so it's like, we in all situations we have to look at how to compose ourselves and conduct ourselves as members of the church. and with what we know about the gospel and what Christ taught. So it's like on the sales side, yes, you need to, you need to serve your employer. You need to be a good employee. You need to do what's required of you. But at the same time, you can't go back on your values, and you do need to make sure that you're honest, that you're not lying, that you're not just flat out lying, and that you are doing what is in the customer's best interest, right? So what was in our best interest in this case was that, we're kind of in between a rock and a hard place. We can't afford $1,100 just on the spot. We're going to need to go find another solution. We have other things that we have to pay for this month. And then as a customer, I could think of people in my life that probably like have gotten a little bit more verbal, or the conversation would have gotten a little warmer, because I definitely was feeling frustration when I saw things that didn't really make sense, or the way that he was talking to me. And I could have pushed back. And then in the end, they asked that we pay for the labor that they put in looking into our issue. And I could see some people being like, no, I'm not going to pay for that. Like, you guys tried to upsell us, and my mechanic is saying that, you're trying to screw me over. I'm not going to pay that, but we didn't do that. And, I think I did a pretty good job. The last couple months have really given me the opportunity to to practice these situations where there's pressure, something undesirable is happening, and responding civilly and as a peacemaker, and so I didn't do it. I didn't argue against him. I didn't try and do whatever. I maintained good communication, and I feel really good coming away from that. And looking at it from their point of view, the company's point of view, they did put in time. We occupied one of their bays, and their employees had to do work. They had to look at our stuff, and so it wouldn't really make sense for us just to walk away and not pay. So we paid. I didn't question the price, and it was fine. It wasn't ridiculous, but and if people could just learn civility, if we could have more civility in the world would be such a better place. You wouldn't have all these public freak out videos on YouTube and TikTok. You wouldn't have these Karen videos with the different people that go around and hassle people. If everyone could just learn civility, and it's really nothing more than just taking a situation that's chaotic, it's a bad situation for one or more people, and then introducing stability and working through it, right? That's what we all got to do, because we're living in an age where it's almost promoted, and you see it all the time, where you need to stick up for yourself and you need to make things happen. If someone's trying to screw you, no, you don't just sit there and take it. You need to whatever, no matter what the cost. And there are situations where that might be appropriate when you really think things out, and if you do it in a civil way. For example, if someone steals something from you, it would be appropriate to file a police report, maybe try and get it back in a non-violent way, but using appropriate means. There's a right way and a wrong way about in seeking justice. And so, but the world right now is just justice no matter what. If someone owes you something, then you go and get it, as you go, impose justice or deal out justice as you see fit, in a way that satisfies you, no matter what. And that's just not right. It's not right. I feel bad for people that are in sales. If you're in sales, I sympathize. Of course, there's people that enjoy sales, but I always found it very very uncomfortable trying to just take some random thing that a person's not even really thinking about, and then trying to get them to buy that thing, you know. Of course, there's different types of sales. Like in my case, it's just like, hey, you weren't expecting this, but hey, you should really get this. Compared to someone that's already in the market to buy a house or to buy a car or something like that, that's more expected. But it's just hard. And I tend to doubt that we're going to see any type of sales in the millennium. At some point, it would seem we're all going to be living the law of consecration. I'm not so sure how things are going to work out at the beginning of the millennium, because I don't know if that would be imposed on all those that aren't members of the church, because my understanding is that the law of consecration, like the economic reality of it, it's mainly run by like the bishop. Like the bishop has a big part to play when it comes to the law of consecration, right? Consecrating your goods and stuff like that. So that's why it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't fully lived worldwide until everybody's been converted to the church. In the earlier part of the millennium, maybe it'll be something different. Maybe it'll be some kind of hybrid system. But regardless, I'm not so sure there's going to be very much sales in the millennium, because I think that the way that we do economics now, at least in the West and most of the world, capitalism, I think it's the best thing that we currently have. I think it's the system that works out the best. But in the millennium, I don't think that that's going to really be around so much. My understanding is that there's still going to be like private ownership of property, I think, with the law of consecration. But as far as making your life's goal just to make as much money as possible, I'm not so sure that that's really going to continue, right? So I don't know. Let me read some of the comments here. Bethany Gonzalez, hey, how's y'all's night going? Wish I was home right now. Amazon Warrior, hi. Wave. Cheryl L, hi. Jared and Jenica. International Health Coach, blessings to you, Jared, and your family. All will be well, even if it seems like it won't now. Strong. Lisa Jex, hi. El Paculi, hey, Jared. 105 degrees here in Idaho. Ooh, with like ooh eyes. Hello, Jenica. Betty Horn, hello, Jenica and Jared. Betty Horn, I'm the world's worst salesman. I couldn't do it. I just went into other ways of earning a living. Yeah. International Health Coach, no honorable follower of Christ can participate in deceit. Sales and deceit are two totally different things. Ethical sales is the lifeblood of every economy. Yeah, because you can't be helpful, especially if it's something that you're looking for. Or maybe they bring up something that you weren't necessarily in the market for, but it's like, oh wow, I didn't know about that. So there is a place for it, but there's a fine line when there's the motivation to earn as much commission as possible, you know. Because like especially if there's like no cap on your commission, then you get in this frame of mind where it's like, I can make as much as I want. All I have to do is work for it. And so if you let that kind of like grandiosity get the better of you, then you might be doing unethical things. And Cheryl L, sorry to hear about the mechanical issues with the car. Praying it will turn out okay next week and it won't be too expensive. Well, yeah, it sounds like it's going to be cheaper doing it this way, so but it's fine. Susan Henry, well said. Cheryl L, 3 praying hands. Carmetic of Tucson. Moses 7:64. Zion comes forth out of all the creations which which I have made. Universe. See teachings of Joseph Smith, chapter 8. Adam holds the keys to the universe. Wow. Yes. That's in reference to the priesthood keys, but it does have that phrase, the keys of the universe. So until we learn more, I guess you can assume that that's like actual. Okay, Carmedic of Tucson. You recent vid made me think of that. Benny Horn. That's why the prophet. That's what the prophet was talking about. Peacemakers. Carmedic of Tucson. I like to think of DNC 121 when I think of sales. I have to sell my services every day. Yeah. So just do it the right way. Um, like looking back, I feel bad because I'm not so sure I was ethical 100% of the time. Because there's a lot of pressure that's put on you. Um, Sales maybe are a little bit easier when you're self-employed because you are your own boss, and so you can be more lenient on yourself when there's a situation where it's like, no, I should not try and sell something to this person. I should just let it go. But when you have people that are checking your metrics every week or every month or whatever, maybe every day, it sometimes gets a little bit intense. And that's one thing that helped me as I was like thinking about this guy at Jiffy Lube. Just thinking, he's probably under pressure to perform. I've never worked at Jiffy Lube. I don't know how it goes. I don't know if they keep some kind of like upsell report, or if they look like, okay, yeah, you're doing really good. Maybe it's not a commission thing, but it's like your store is doing really good, and you're gonna get some kind of bonus for doing well. Um, so I was thinking about him, and the funny thing is that I think both, I don't know if it was like the store.
I have to look at something.
Okay. Well, at least all I know is that the district manager was there, and then somebody else that also looked like a higher up. So I know that he was probably under pressure to perform and look good to the district manager. And when you work your way up to the store manager, there's pride, like healthy pride, that comes with that. And so it's just like you want to do the best that you can. And I could understand like a lot of what he was going through, maybe not perfectly because I'm not him, but that's the benefit of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, so that you don't just like rail on them or think that everything is just so unfair, because there is another side to the story that you need to examine. So I was even thinking about how, with as hard as it seems like he was like pushing sales, like not just with us but with like other customers, I was thinking about how you could get into this like really bad spot in sales where you're wanting to reach some goal, or maybe you've had a hard time with sales, one of the two, and so like you up your game. You up your game, and by upping your game, maybe you go a little bit too far, to the point where you're driving it so hard that you're actually like putting off your customers, like it's off-putting. And people are like, no, it's okay, I'll just go somewhere else. And it kind of seemed like that happened. I didn't know the full story, but it seemed like that happened with like one customer that was in there. And you have to, for the person in that situation too, because even though they're doing it to themselves, you can understand where it's like, gosh, well, they're just under a lot of pressure, and so they've worked themselves up to the point where they're being too forceful in their sales, and they're actually just making it even worse, and then it's just like a self-feeding loop. So it sucks. It really sucks. Okay, let's see. El Paculi, recently President Nelson urged, you have your agency to choose contention or reconciliation. I urge you to choose to be a peacemaker, now and always. Yes, that was his main message this last General Conference, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. Um, we talked about that when we did the live streams after the sessions. Paramedic of Tucson, my wife is laughing at me. She says I'm having too much fun with y'all. Janet Manning, I'm here, Jared. What did I? And then later, she completes her thought with another thought. Nice haircut, Jared. Really? Thanks. I'm glad that it like still like looks this short. It's been a little while since I got a haircut.
Right here.
Huh?
It's sticking up right here.
I know. I'm okay with that. I don't care. Um, International Health Coach. I planted 10 mammoth sunflowers. Yes.
Yay.
And they are now 6 to 9 feet tall, but no flowers yet. I'm sorry, but that's really cool. We've just been like an abysmal failure with our home sunflowers too. Our old Relief Society president, I don't know if she has any this year.
Not this year.
But I think like last year she did.
Yeah.
Cynthia Christopherson. So tough being in a deceitful interaction like that and staying in a peaceful place. Way to go. Blue heart. Sky blue heart. Marie Wheeler, listening from Painted Desert, Arizona. Welcome. The Haystack, if sales are pushed, give them a Book of Mormon. They won't refuse it. Yeah, while we're talking about breaks and break lines, have you heard about the Book of Mormon? This might help your chances at me going through with your overpriced sales pitch. Carmedic of Tucson, I'm sitting in the house with heat exhaustion. I hope you don't really have heat exhaustion, because if you do, you should take care of that right away. Go take a cool shower or bath or something like that. Drink some liquids. Janet Manning, so sad to hear that Sister Holland died. Yeah. I had only ever really noticed her when they were doing the young adult devotional. And I think it was early this year when that happened. And I was just like, I was listening to her and just, I mean, nothing like big stood out. Like, but I thought that her talk was good and that she was really sweet. So hearing of her pass away when she had just barely come on my radar was a little bit shocking. And I hope that Elder Holland does okay, because you know, I'm in my late 30s right now, but even in my whatever age he is, late 70s, probably 80s most likely, I don't think it matters what age you are. It's probably extremely hard to lose a spouse, and it's just like, oh, great. So for the rest of my life, I'm just going to be alone, missing her or him if you're a girl. And it's sad too, because hasn't he said that he has I don't know if he still has it, but he has battled with depression.
Yeah.
So if he's still dealing with depression, then that's obviously not going to help. And you know, let's all just pray that the resurrection is soon. And I think it is. You know, if something were to happen on Tisha B'Av, I don't know. I would not exclude any possibility. I could see the second coming happening right now, and then us after the fact looking back and being like, oh yeah, everything did happen. All the prophecies did happen, just not how I thought. That's the frame of mind that I am of. Gosh, dang it. It's 7:42.
I know. They said they're gonna try and make it so we're not home too late tonight.
It's like we could try and drive home. You know, we drove from one side of Wichita to the other to get to where we're at right now. But there's the risk with the brake pads. You know, if they heat up and then they chip or they crack or whatever, and then, you know, catch fire or something like that. I think even going at a slow speed, it doesn't necessarily prevent that from happening. So we're still probably from here, probably about an hour from home. I feel like there's a good chance we could actually make it, but since we're already doing this plan, we're just gonna stick with it. The Haystack, thanks for Tisha B'Av video, reminding me that we entered the Salt Lake Valley on that day. Just released a video on it. Oh, cool. So everyone go check out the Haystacks video about Tisha B'Av and the pioneers entering the Salt Lake Valley, which is very interesting. I do think that these different appointed times as well as observances, because Tisha B'Av isn't like it's not part of the Moedim, you know, the appointed times, but at least not that I know. But it seems like it could still have significance even today, even though it's not something that we necessarily celebrate. Carmetic of Tucson, well, I was thinking about your video on the different capitals. I work in the heat all day, and this heat is impacting me, but it reminds me, as much as I need air conditioning, I need the Savior more. Yes, that's true. Doesn't really matter if you die, just as long as you're good after you die, because life continues. It doesn't just end, you know. Janet Manning, don't you just love these trials? Angry face. Yep, they're the best. They're the best. They're the best. There's like all these mostly trucks here. I can only assume that these are like trucks towed by this guy. It's like we're at his residence, but like to the side of the property, there's just like all these like trucks and stuff. The Haystack, love hearing Jewish beliefs because we end up having historical application in our history. Amazing. Yeah, you know, sometimes like some of the reactions that I get from some of my videos, it seems like people, well, there's been like a range of reactions to talking about the Jewish stuff, whether it be talking to Rabbi Yerfine, whether it be talking about the Jewish feast days, whether it be talking about Israel or Jerusalem or the Third Temple. There's like a spectrum of reactions to it. Some people, and if they're members of the church, I really can't believe this, but some people are like at least posing as members of the church as they're like actively hostile against the Jews. Like there's been some like pretty questionable comments made on some of my Jewish videos where it's like, have you read the Book of Mormon? The Book of Mormon talks about the Jews and how, you know, the prevailing attitude of the Gentiles, maybe not so much within the last couple decades, but for almost the last 2,000 years, the prevailing opinion of the Gentiles has been like, the Jews, you know, always scourging them, always a hiss and a, what is it, a byword? Whatever, always putting down the Jews and not thanking them for the Bible, you know, that we got from them. And so it's like, it's interesting thinking about this like spectrum within our own church, like different attitudes about the Jews. But I think that once we get into the millennium and we look back And once everything comes together, both parts of the house of Israel, the Jews, and then us, which are primarily made up of the lost tribes. Once Israel is united once again for the first time since 721 BC, it might be interesting just how much they actually bring with them. You know, some of their understanding, um, not that it's their understanding, but maybe parts of the gospel that really haven't been restored yet fully. You know, there might be things that they actually still practice today that we don't, that may in some kind of way be restored. Or, um, you know, when the Jews, okay, when the Jews convert, when Christ comes to Jerusalem, it's not like it's going to be an overnight process. It's going to take them time, I would assume, to kind of like really wrap their mind around what happened and adjusting to this new lifestyle, this new belief system of now being Christians. Not only Christians, but members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so that might be the appropriate time where if there's some of these like scattered beliefs, traditions, understandings, whatever, that haven't been fully restored, it'd be interesting if those kind of things come back, or if nothing else, become part of like our church culture now that we're all together again as a family. Janet Manning, I've been learning Hebrew religion and language. Also more about Christ during the time as a mortal. Cool. International Health Coach, Elder Holland will be 83 in December. We should all mail him a sympathy card this weekend. All the apostles are so unique in their personality and strengths. Jesus is the Christ. Praying hands. And then International Health Coach also says, nice stream topics, Jared. Thank you. Good. I'm glad that you think so. No, we should keep it on. Please.
You're just wasting so much gas.
I'm okay with that.
Oh,
Please. Because if not, I'm going to get all sweaty.
Okay. Sorry.
So, yeah, thank you. Thank you, International Health Coach. I just can't wait to see the reality of the second coming and the millennium and how things actually play out in both observing how things played out, maybe how we thought that they would, and then the things that play out in a way that we don't think, that we didn't think they would, and then also having these new things revealed to us, like what Elder Bednar was talking about, how the ongoing restoration isn't just when they're talking about the ongoing restoration. In case you haven't watched that video I did, it's not just things that have been brought back, but it also includes things that never have been revealed from the foundation of the world. And you have to wonder what some of those things are, and what kind of things we're going to learn when we have those scriptures from the 10 lost tribes, whenever those come forth. And then whatever things Christ himself may say when he's here. You know, I don't know if like some kind of like new record is going to be kept, other than just how we do it right now, how we essentially capture all the words of the prophets in general conference especially, but also, you know, when they go and they do devotionals and stuff like that. So, but it'll be interesting, these new things that have never been known, and also how everything's going to be revealed in the millennium. You know, it talks about in the scriptures, I think specifically in D&C, I think that things that the Lord has been doing this whole time that we didn't know about will be made known. Things that mankind, the secret works of men, will also be known. And that makes me think about secret combinations, and maybe the depth to which they've penetrated civilization, maybe their history, like times where they were strong, maybe times when they were weak. Maybe not as strong as we thought in some areas, maybe stronger in some areas. Just all these things that we didn't really know because it's been kept secret. And then as far as the Lord is concerned and the way that He's worked among men, possibly things having to do with, I can imagine like other translated beings uh, carrying out missions similar to the three Nephites in John the Revelator. Just because things aren't recorded in the scriptures that we have doesn't mean that they didn't happen. So there could be any number of things that we have no knowledge of that have taken place that it was not needful for us to know at this time. Surely we'll have a better understanding, like we'll have a lot more information about what was going on during the times of the patriarchs, from Adam all the way down to Noah. What did that church really look like when we have all the details? What were the specific things that were going on? We kind of have like a general idea of what people were doing, how they were sinning against God, but we don't have like a full account. So, Tammy Lynn, it bothers me that some people look at and or judge others by race, gender, nationality, or whatever. We're all children of God, period. Yes, this is true. It mostly comes... My theory on it, I feel like there's like kind of like two different places that it comes from. One is if you are a genuine, real person with real values, okay, you're a healthy individual, psychologically, spiritually. I feel like if you don't have very much exposure to some other thing, whether it's a race, a nationality, whatever, and it's different from you, that can tap into the natural man, because the natural man is all about defense and survival. And so the way that we're geared is we don't like things that we don't know. We don't like the unknown because it's scary. That's why we don't like darkness, because it's like, oh, anything could be in there, in that room, in that forest or whatever. It's scary. You don't like what we don't know. And so when you have a group of people, whatever that group may be, religious, race, otherwise, there's a natural tendency to be like, I don't know about them. Like, what are their intentions? That's why I think a lot of people don't like talking about aliens. Because aliens, there's nothing that you can really know about them except for what is supposedly truth in different conspiracy groups. In fact, on my mission, it was the it was the person that I was training, and we were, it was late one night. It was almost time to go back home. It was almost curfew, and our work was kind of done for the day. Just walking the streets, everybody was like going in for the night, and so we were just like talking about things, and it started talking about life on other planets. Talking about the same scriptures that I just talked about in the video 2 videos ago. And he knew this, he understood it, and I started talking about, there's the potential that maybe they are allowed to come here and visit or to see us, and it like got this guy to the core. He was like scared. He's like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about it. I was like, why? What? He's like, I don't like the idea that, they could be like watching us and we don't know or whatever. And he's like, I don't think Heavenly Father would he wouldn't allow that to happen. He wouldn't allow it. And so I was just like, okay, I guess we won't talk about aliens and UFOs. Because I was more accustomed to that idea, but not that he hated aliens. But he was scared, you know. So I think that there's good-hearted people that, if they don't watch themselves, they can allow that to creep in, and just kind of, you know, um, give power to the natural man. Um, but it's like a spectrum. There's like the healthy side, but if you go down the more prideful side of the spectrum, the more prideful you are, the more narcissistic, the more you tend to think in black and white terms, no pun intended, where you start to view everything as either it's with me or it's against me. Either it's on my side or it's against me. And so, hence, you have people that really are sexist, either men or women. And I guarantee that you've seen it in your life where these people have these like weird comments or these weird attitudes toward men or toward women, making it seem like women are better or men are better. And that's a more narcissistic point of view, because it's like, well, I'm a man, so men are better. Or I'm a woman, women are better because that's my team. It's really very childish, a childish way of doing life. And it could be, you know, any identifier you pick, you know, whether it's sex or religion or politics or uh, schools. Like, oh, I went to BYU, well, I went to Utah, I went to Kansas. You know, it's just so silly because, again, I think it taps into that primal need for allies. You know, you have allies and you have enemies. That's how you survive. And the people that you've hooked up with to be your allies in life is other men, or it's you know, this is my school, my brothers, you know, they got me, my brothers and sisters, we all bleed blue, or whatever. And that may sound silly, but if you watch people, sometimes you start to understand that maybe it is a little bit serious. Like, it's not something that you just laugh off. Like, that's actually in reality how those people think. Some of them. It depends on how far down you are on the spectrum. And so, um, the more prideful and more narcissistic you get, the more you tend to view everything like that. You know, and it doesn't, and reality doesn't matter. Reality doesn't matter because another thing that happens when you go far down that path is your ideals of how the world is supposed to be become more and more grandiose and more disconnected from reality. So hence, you know, you have the stereotypes of like people that are rich, for example, that look down on people that are poor. Um, you know, they see them as gross or like unrefined, you know, stuff like that. Or it could be the other way around. It could be poor people that look at rich people and, if you're rich, you must have done something really bad to get to that place. You must have screwed somebody over. You must have stepped on a lot of toes. It can go either way. And that's when you have to start seeing the shades of gray and understanding that everything's not black and white. Among all the rich people in the world, there are good rich people and there are bad rich people, and there are people in the middle. Same thing with poor people, same thing with any group, any identifier. The only uh, division that really matters is the final judgment. And if you're living a telestial life, a terrestrial life, or a celestial life. That's the only thing that matters. And you still love everybody, but um, so you have to look at every group and be civil at all times, loving, but understand who the predators are, understand the people that don't have the same values, and you know, don't let them rub off on you. Okay, let's see. The haystack. I'm only psychologically healthy when kids are fighting and dumping stuff out everywhere. Outside of that, I'm pretty jolly. Zybarth checking in. You got that? Zybarth is here.
Yeah.
Got him checked in. Carmetic of Tucson. We are learning about that in Come Follow Me this week. Peter's revaluation seems to cause him a little cognitive his revelation seems to cause him a little cognitive dissonance. The Haystack, I feel like we're always watched. When I'm alone, I like to break the fourth wall just in case I get to watch my life after this life. Okay. I'm not so sure if physical barriers will really matter at that point. I'm sure there's some way to still watch you, but I don't know. Zybarth, there's an interesting book from the mid-90s called Mormons and UFOs. Not bringing it up to say people have to believe anything in it, just saying it has some interesting content. Sounds like it does. Zybarth, The Watchers. International Health Coach, DNC Section 133, verses 25 to 32, 10 lost tribes. Yep. If you're new to the channel, I don't know, I feel you've been here for a little while, International Health Coach. I recognize your name, but I'm not sure how long you've been watching. Check out my playlist called 10 Lost Tribes. I've done a pretty extensive study on it. And also check out my spreadsheet. The tab is called Timeline 10 Lost Tribes, where I have a collection of every quote that I know of having to do with them. So it's interesting. Oh my gosh, what is this guy gonna get here?
I don't know.
Oh, it's 8:04. Patience. Patience is a virtue. So how are you guys doing today?
I found a really cool bug.
International Health Coach. Cool, thank you. What?
I found a really cool bug.
Oh wow, it's just like standing there. You guys won't be able to see it. Maybe you will. I zoom in.
He's really cool. He's got like a triangle face.
Crap.
Right there.
Here. I don't know how well you guys can see
it.
it. Can they? Well, you can kind of see it, can't you?
You can see like where it is and its outline, but it's a cool bug.
He's just like standing at that ledge thinking about life.
Yeah, he's been there forever. He's so funky looking.
I heard that there are like frogs in Utah right now. I can't remember if it's Tooele or somewhere else. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Kind of like a plague of frogs. Sherry Johnson, South Carolina. South Carolina. I do graphic design. I've made a lot of designs for South Carolina. Like one of my ones that sells the most is it's one for Hilton Head Beach. But I really like South Carolina because the flag, I like any state that has a simple flag that you can easily do really cool things with. And South Carolina is one of those flags with the palmetto and the crescent moon. I love it. I've made some really cool designs. I really have. Never been to South Carolina, but sorry, that bug is just still sitting there.
I know.
Does that okay? Janet Manning. I feel we are going to be surprised. I'm just what is out there, and it's on other Earths. Remember, in Ezekiel, it says he saw the wheel in the sky. Yeah. I've heard different interpretations of that, but I haven't like really done a solid research into it since I've started this channel, because this is where I've started like really being really serious. Like I thought I was being pretty serious before YouTube, but now doing this I realize just how much studying there is to do, and how I think it's pretty necessary to collect scriptures and quotes in whatever format you think is best, because it helps you remember those things that you think are like are really like, whoa, I need to remember that. You should remember that and do that by writing it down. But you know what? Maybe I'll look into that. You just gave me a video idea. Maybe I'll see what I can find out about that for my own study. Of course, there's always, the UFO interpretation that what he was seeing was craft from some other world, and that could be. I've also heard that the wheel refers to time, and that it has to do with well, it gets kind of new agey, so I don't put a lot of weight into it. But just like the idea of the great year, which wouldn't fit in at all to our gospel, because the great year it's something like 12,600 years that the earth takes to go through like the signs of the zodiac, like the age of Aquarius, that nonsense. It has to do with that. So I heard one person saying, "Oh, it has to do with the precession of the Earth, whatever." So I'd be interested to see if this has been referenced very much in the church. I don't think that it has. Otherwise, we'd probably all know about it already. But maybe I'll look into that. The haystack. I heard from a rabbi that Messiah ben Joseph will bring together the posterity of Esau and Jacob. Cool. Carmetic of Tucson. Random question. Have you ever had someone approach you and argue about your videos in church? No. Surprisingly, no. I didn't know what to expect, especially as I started to get big, like relatively big compared to other LDS YouTubers doing the same type of content.
You did have someone ask to take your video down in the beginning. We're not talking about that.
No, we're not. Okay, anyway. A lot of people in my personal will send me things, like usually via Facebook Messenger or text, like, hey, look at this story, look at that story, which is great, but it also just kind of adds to the overwhelming flow of tips that I'm always getting from everybody, which I greatly appreciate. It's not like I have all the ideas, it's great doing this kind of as like a group effort, and I really like to interact as much as possible with all my subscribers and get different ideas. But sometimes it gets to be a little bit too much, not so much from you guys, but like when it's coming in through text or Messenger, because that's like my personal life, and then YouTube starts seeping into my personal life. So I have wondered if I ever go to some other ward, will there be anybody there that recognizes me? I don't know. There's a missionary from our ward that's serving in St. George, and she messaged me and she's like, hey, Brother Davies, I came across one of your subscribers, because I told them that I'm from Kansas, and they're like, oh, do you know Christian Homestead? And she's in my ward. So I kind of wonder what would happen if I went to some other ward. Would anybody recognize me? I don't know. Goblins here. Hello. Speaking of St. George, hello from St. George, Utah. Betty, I find it sad as well. My prayers are with them. Goblin Jared, I sent you an email about the tornado in North Carolina. The tornado destroyed a Pfizer plant there in North Carolina. Yeah, I mentioned that in my most recent video about like the update on capital cities. I kind of touched on that. I think it's interesting. It didn't happen in a capital city, but I still found it noteworthy, so I talked about it, or just brought it up in the video. I don't know. It kind of stands out. I mean, I don't know what to think of it. Benny Horn, I hope it comes soon. I need a new body. Mine is so broken, and there's nothing they can do. Just got home from the doctor. Yeah, everybody say a little prayer for Betty. I'm a little bit familiar with her situation. It has to do with her back, and they weren't able to help her, so please say a little prayer for her if you don't mind. Janet Manning says, "Hey Jared, I thank you. If you did a study, I will watch it." Oh, good. Thank you. So my content is of value to you. That makes me happy. Goblin says, where's the missionary in St. George located? I am actually in Leeds, north of St. George. I don't know where she's at right now, and she's actually getting toward the end of her mission, I think. So she'll be coming back home soon. Sherry Johnson, me too, Betty. Low back, hip bursitis, etc. I can't find good positions to sleep in. Oh, that has got to be the worst. I deal with that a little bit. That's why I'm currently going to the chiropractor. Uh, but that actually helps me. Unlike that, I don't have hip bursitis or whatever, or what you guys have. But it was getting pretty bad for me to where, like, I would lay down and then my legs would get tingly, or there would just be a weird feeling in my lower back or whatever. And a couple nights it was pretty bad. But now that I'm going back to the chiropractor, that's gone away. I need to just, like, go to the gym more. And I have been. But that's my situation. Goblin says, I have niece that just went on her mission to Wisconsin. She is in the Green Bay area. Cool. Eric Gibbons, hi Jared. Visit Independence, Missouri this weekend with my wife. Wish we could visit the homestead. Oh, you are visiting Independence. Yeah, man, I wish I was closer. My plan this summer was to go to the Kansas City area, go check out Independence and the church sites, and go to probably Adirondack, northeast of the city. But no, plumber, cars, fallen trees, everything, chickens. Carmedic of Tucson. Okay, I have to go. Great chatting with you all. All right, take care, Carmedic of Tucson.
Bye.
I like Tucson. Well, I haven't actually been to the city, but I kind of like that area. That's where some of my sister-in-law's family live. Like, she's from there. Caviar White, hello from Phoenix. Still hot. When is it not? Hope you guys are doing great. Thanks for all your effort and time. Thanks, Cabria. Or Cabria. Cabria? I'm not sure. I miss Phoenix. We had someone in our ward that recently went down to Phoenix. There's somebody in the ward that he's dating a girl that's from there, from Gilbert, and so him and his sister went to Gilbert and to go check out the sites in Phoenix. And I was like looking at some of the pictures and videos, and it was kind of nostalgic for me. But I don't know. I feel like there's good everywhere you go. Because at this point, I'd like to know how many places you guys have lived. Put how many states you've lived in, if you live in the United States, or countries, or whatever you want to do. But I've lived in Utah, Arizona, Texas, Arizona again, and now Kansas, and then Spain when I was on my mission. And I guess a tiny bit in Virginia, but that was just for a few weeks, so I didn't really live there. But I feel like I can say that every place that I've gone, I've always made it feel like home. Like it's always like grown on me after a while, and there's always something good about every single place that you go. Always something unique about, whether it's the climate, the land, the people, whatever. It's really cool. It'd be really neat to have many different lifetimes to experience this whole earth, And by the way, I think that's part of, in a sense, part of the glory of God is that he has us, as spirit children. We come to earth, get physical bodies, and he knows all of us on a personal level. I can only assume that as we experience life, he is experiencing it with us through our own eyes, because he knows the thoughts um, of your mind and the intent of your heart. Uh, I don't think there's anything that you could possibly do, whether it's skydiving or boating or whatever, that he wouldn't know, because he experiences everybody. And so, in that sense, that's kind of an exciting prospect for the eternities. Hopefully, all of us get to that point where we're exalted and we're doing the same thing, and then we can experience infinite lives through our children, our spirit children. So I know that our Heavenly Father knows exactly what it's like to live where I live, and to have lived all the places that I have, and specifically in my family. So it's exciting. At the same time, it's a little bit worrying because not everything in life is great, at least not here in mortality. So at the same time, I don't think that there's any pain that you can have. Let me respond to this guy really quick. He says, almost here.
Oh, good.
Thank goodness. Well, he don't need to respond. That's fine. So at the same time, where there's all these incredible things to experience in life, there's also a lot of bad things that happen, whether it's back pain or whether it's getting a concussion, having some kind of horrible disease. I also can't imagine that our Heavenly Father, I'm talking about Heavenly Father, not just Christ, but Heavenly Father, that he doesn't know exactly what that feels like as well. So for example, say that you're one of these people that get paralyzed, like so bad, you have some kind of condition, or you're paralyzed where all you can do is just move your eyes, which is one of the most frightening things to me, by the way. I'm pretty sure our Heavenly Father knows exactly how that feels, because he lives it through you, even though he may not have gone through that himself in his mortal life. You know what I mean? So that kind of scares me too. Now, I don't know if that's exactly how it is. I could be wrong about that. It's not doctrine, but I'm just trying to think through the logic of it. So, but maybe once you get to that point, it's not that bad. I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts about it. Okay, so Goblin says, my niece that just went on her mission is the youngest in her family and has older siblings that have served missions. Sherry Johnson, I have good news. My son, who I have prayed about for 20 years, is returning to church and really trying to turn his life around. That is very good. We've talked about on the channel, like I've talked about with Mindy from the Temples of Jesus channel, how we feel like in our personal lives we've seen a lot of people making these kind of decisions as of late. And I don't have anything to back it up. That's a general phenomenon, but it'd be like I've talked about the idea of Jehoshaphat, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the Valley of Decision. I feel like a lot of people are in the Valley of Decision right now, as we're getting to this point where either you're going to move into the millennium or you're not. So that's really good news. Goblin says the video's buffering. I'm sorry. B-Dubs says 3 states. Cabria White says, she says it's pronounced Cabria.
Cabria.
Cabria. Okay, now is it this? Is it Cabria or Cabria? Where's the? It's probably Cabria. I don't know. Help me out. I'll answer to anything, haha. But in case you were curious, it's Cabria. Goblin, I have lived in Utah, and while on my mission in Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado, and 2 years in Mesquite, Nevada. Oh, that's where my father-in-law lives. Cabria White says 4 states: Idaho, Utah, Arizona, Texas. Oh, cool. So we share 3 of the same states. That's cool. Goblin, the areas I've lived in Utah are Springville, Mapleton, Provo, Orem, Santaquin, Smithfield, and St. George. My mission was the New Mexico Albuquerque mission, and I served from October 1998 to October 2000. Sherry Johnson, Arizona, ding. Nevada, Utah, ding. New Mexico, Louisiana, Texas, ding. South Carolina, 7 total. It's a good number. It means completion, so you're done. Janet Manning, Idaho, Junction City, Phoenix Mesa, ding. Prescott Valley, Yuma, and getting ready to move into Kansas City. Awesome. I can only assume that you mean Kansas City, Missouri, not the Kansas City, Kansas. Betty, gotta go. You have my prayers, Jared and Jenica. I'll have to catch the rest of this later. Y'all take care. Well, we might be wrapping up soon, thankfully. Not because I'm not enjoying my time with you guys. It's just that I want to get home and I want this guy to. Oh, there he is. Okay, I gotta go. See you guys later.